Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when another movie comes for you? That's right, y'all. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are popping back onto the big screen for Bad Boys 4. Mr. Smith and Mr. Lawrence have announced that they will be getting back together for a fourth installment of the Bad Boys franchise. Officially, Sony Pictures has revealed that the unnamed sequel is in the early stages of development, with the stunning duo behind Ms. Marvel, Adil El-Arbi and Bilal Fallah returning to helm the story. Chris Bremner will be writing the juicy bits. The directors brought back the original Bad Boys in Bad Boys for Life in 2020, reuniting Smith and Lawrence as Miami-Dade cops Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett 25 years after the original Bad Boys film. I genuinely smiled watching the duo get back into their cop suits and spew colorful obscenities. But well, shortly after the third installment was released, Sony stated that a fourth Bad Boys picture was in the works. For those of you who don't know, Bad Boys for Life went on to make $426.5 million worldwide, making it one of the final pre-pandemic era blockbusters. Also, just putting it out there, Bad Boys 4 is a good sign for Will Smith post-Oscar slap. The work on the picture has been ongoing since the third installment's spectacular box office debut. The fate of Bad Boys 4 was cast in doubt following Smith's notorious Oscar slap, with some rumors claiming the movie had been placed on hold as a result. This was super disappointing for fans. Thankfully, Sony chairman Tom Rothman then debunked these rumors. He stated that work was still proceeding and assured the public that Mr. Smith's apologies and contrition for hitting Chris Rock were real. Soon after, Lawrence voiced optimism in Bad Boys 4 coming forward, believing that he and Smith had at least one more film in them for the franchise. Bad Boys deserves a good send-off. The news that Bad Boys 4 is continuing forward is a positive omen for Smith's post-Oscars career. Undoubtedly, there was a large shadow of doubt after Will let loose on stage. Smith received tremendous acclaim for his portrayal in the Antoine Fuqua-helmed slavery thriller Emancipation, garnering lots of Oscar excitement, only to be left without a nomination during the recent awards announcements. Despite securing a role in the sci-fi thriller Brilliance, directed by Ms. Marvel Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, Bad Boys 4 is continuing due to a big studio's faith in having Smith head a blockbuster-scale production. All this is not to say that Bad Boys 4 will prove how much audiences care about the slap. The ultimate measure of whether fans care that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars will be Bad Boys 4. Granted, his drama Emancipation has since been released, but it was never projected to be a great box office blockbuster. Y'all could call it more of a publicity stunt to get Will Smith another Oscar nomination, which, ironically, he did not get. Also, Smith has a couple of other projects in the works that may happen before Bad Boys 4. However, none of them are part of established franchises with established fan bases and a track record of box office success. Whether fair or not, the response and box office success of Bad Boys 4 will be considered as a measure of how viewers feel about Will Smith's slap. If the sequel earns more than Bad Boys for Life and becomes a major hit, Hollywood will know that Smith is still a celebrity that people want to watch. However, if Bad Boys 4 fails commercially or critically, it might indicate that fans are still bummed out by Will Smith's Oscar slap and are avoiding viewing his upcoming films. Speaking of upcoming films, Will Smith's Oscar controversy made Hancock 2 even more difficult. Hancock 2, the sequel to 2008's Hancock, has been made more difficult by Will Smith's 2022 Oscars incident. Smith featured in Hancock as an invincible, immortal, delightfully drunken superhero who has received a lot of flack for his rough-around-the-edges approach to heroics. The movie was R-rated, and I loved it for breaking a lot of barriers by being as grunge as it was. Though Hancock received mixed reviews from critics and audiences alike, rumors of a sequel began to circulate not long after the original film's release, and despite little information being confirmed, it appears that the development of Hancock 2 may be even more difficult now in the aftermath of Smith's actions at the 2022 Academy Awards ceremony. Sadness. The highly awaited Hancock 2 might be one of the future projects after Bad Boys 4, since fans of Smith's original superhero adventure have been clamoring clamoring for a sequel for almost a decade, myself included. The Walking Dead authors Adam Fierro and Glenn Mazzara were hired in 2009 to develop a story for the sequel, and our beloved Charlize Theron showed interest in reprising her role as the secretly superpowered Mary Embry, which means we'd get the same main guys again in Hancock 2. And just to add some light humor to the story, Will Smith's Oscar slap was quite Hancocky of him. Hancock presented the twisted tale of John Hancock, a superhero who suffers a massive backlash in the media and public consciousness following a major public relations debacle. Seems familiar? It appears to be a precise replica of Will Smith's life following his controversial antics at the 2022 Academy Awards. This suggests that the plot of Hancock 2 might be a bit too close to home, convincing the production crew to suspend whatever work is taking place behind the scenes. Emancipation, Smith's first effort following the Oscars incident, was published on Apple TV Plus on December 9, 2022, to mixed reviews, while Smith's acting was lauded. This might bode well for his future in Hollywood, pointing to a clear recovery from his previous misdeeds, which, funnily enough, would exactly follow the plot laid out in Hancock. Smith's superhero overcomes massive public reaction throughout the course of the film. Hancock 2 may possibly see the light of day if this is the case. Oh, and before I wrap up, I Am Legend 2 is all set to see the light of day. The movie avoids a major Will Smith sequel faux pas, and it's all the better for it. Will Smith does not return to every film sequel, but he does for this one. In addition, I Am Legend 2 will reunite Smith with Michael B. Jordan for the first time. This should sidestep an issue that has afflicted sequels to Will Smith films in the past. Smith and Jordan will both act as producers on the picture, which basically means they will have a say in how it is created. This might prove to be a wise decision for the sequel to 2007's original I Am Legend, given the pair's films have grossed over $12 billion at the box office. The primary problem with Will Smith sequels is that they don't have him in them. The box office suffers, and in some cases, so does the film's quality. As an example, consider Independence Day: Resurgence. It was not well regarded at its initial release, and while it has its supporters, the box office decreased considerably from the previous picture. Then, Men in Black: International followed in the footsteps of Resurgence. Will Smith returned for both original sequels, but the spin-off starring Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson earned the franchise's lowest box office total. And lastly, The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn, was a messy flop too. It's safe to say, either you put Smith in a movie and end the movie with him in it, or just don't think about a sequel. That's all I got for Will Smith. Man, I just pray BB4 keeps up the hype. See you in the next one.